An Iraqi hunter hunts animals normally, but by mistake he hunted a snake. This snake is different from other snakes because it was possessed by a creature from the other world. The one who killed the hunter got into a mess that he could not get out of. Impossible things happened to him. Let's start with the story. An Iraqi hunter in one of the governorates. His favorite hobby is hunting. From the days off, Friday and Saturday, it is the only hobby that he uses to release his negative energy. Anyway, he came on Friday and said, "I was excited that day to hunt birds, so I got my hunting rifle and got into my car and headed enthusiastically to the desert, or what we call Chul. But this time, this place was far away from people, deep in the desert, and the time was afternoon. Anyway, I arrived at a new place, the first time I entered it, and I said I would try it and recommend it. I got out of the car and started hunting, God willing, and there were many birds in this place, so I was hunting birds and picking them up from the ground and gathering them in a specific place on the ground until sunset. So I would take them and get into my car and go home. Anyway, thank God, in this place, I hunted many birds, and before sunset, I was very far from the place where I had gathered the birds I hunted. After I hunted some birds and finished, it was sunset and it was time to return home, so I went back to take the birds I had hunted, which I had left on the ground. But suddenly I saw that the birds I had hunted were not present in this place where I had left them, and all that remained was their blood. I was very surprised where it could have hidden, but quickly I discovered a snake 3 meters away from this place. It was black, very big and huge, and I knew that this snake was the one who ate the birds that I had hunted down, so I angrily raised my gun. The shot hit it directly and literally blew its head off. The snake's head was pulled off. I approached this snake carefully. Strangely, its body began to twist violently, even though its head was cut off, but its body was still literally alive. The snake's body kept rising from the ground and colliding with it very quickly and with unnatural energy. I was looking at it, very shocked by this strange movement. The strange thing was that a faint sound kept coming out of it, as if it were a muffled scream. Honestly, I was very scared by this sight. I was alone in the desert, very far from the villages and the city. It was night, the weather was very cold, and what I saw was completely unnatural. I left this place very quickly and took what remained of the birds that I had hunted and got into my car. I don't know, but I felt my whole body start to tremble and my hands were sweating. I felt that a big mistake was coming. The air became heavy on my chest and I felt that I was not alone here. So I started the car very quickly, put my hand on the car steering wheel and pressed the gas. The problem is that the engine did not start. There was nothing wrong with the car. It was normal since I brought it here. Why didn't it start? The problem is that it broke down for no reason. I tried 2 and 3 times, but to no avail. The problem is that I am in the middle of the desert and very far away. There are no cars passing through any street. It is night and my mobile phone is not covered. Suddenly, I heard a light tapping sound above my car. It was like someone was walking on top of the car. I froze in my place, my eyes wide open. I swallowed my saliva with difficulty, sure that was the sound of someone walking on top of my car. I quickly got out of the car and looked above it. I did not see anything or anyone. I looked to the right at the snake that I killed a while ago. The strange thing is that I saw that the snake was not there and had disappeared from its place. Oh God, what is happening in this place? I went back and got in the car. Quickly, I closed the door and suddenly I kept hearing a light knocking sound on the back window of the car. It was clear that someone was about to do it. I looked back at the window and everything was clear except for the pitch darkness, but I focused well on the darkness and on the window, very strange eyes wide open, watching me in the dark. I quickly turned my face and tried very quickly to start the car, but the car would not start and I could not look back again because the sight of the eyes, by God, was very terrifying and frightening. What is this predicament that I am in? Suddenly, while I was trying to start the car, I felt hot breaths on my neck from behind. So I screamed loudly from fear and lowered his head and put it between my legs and hugged him. I heard a strange laughter in the cabin of the car. Oh God, there is someone sitting behind me in the car, but fear took over me and I could not raise his head and see him. Suddenly, he called my name and said, "You killed one of our tribe, and we will take revenge on you, and you will regret it for the rest of your life." And suddenly the car shook violently, a strong shake at full speed. I tried to start the car, and suddenly the car started. I looked at the detector behind me, but I didn't see anyone. There was no one here this time. I moved the car very quickly, and all that was on my mind was that I was saved and I will be able to return home safely. But you wouldn't expect what happened. I drove the car very fast, away from this ominous place, not comprehending all that had happened. I kept thinking the whole way, the voice I heard a while ago ringing in my mind. You killed one of our tribe, and we will take revenge. What does one of our tribe mean? Is it possible that this snake that I killed isn't just an ordinary animal? Is it possible that I killed a creature behind me that was possessed by this snake? What does he mean that we will take revenge and it will not leave us? I said God's name while I was terrified, and all I cared about was that I wanted to get out of this place and return to my apartment that I live in alone. After half an hour on the road, questions ate away at my head, and all the way I looked in the car mirror, right and left, and I felt that something was chasing me. Anyway, I finally arrived at my apartment, and it was very dark and cold. I took out my apartment door key and tried to open the door lock. When I left the key, I saw that my apartment door lock was open. Who opened it? And before I went out, I locked the door. I am the only one living in this apartment. My heartbeat increased more. I opened the door of my apartment carefully, and I was trembling. I entered the apartment and turned on the lights of the apartment. I saw something that made me stop in a place of shock. I saw long black footprints extending from the door of the apartment to the edge of my room. I stopped in a place and I was staring and amazed at these footprints. What was more shocking was that there was no trace of returning, only feet entering. This meant one thing: there was someone inside my room. I tried to convince myself that this was just an illusion. Maybe my eyes were deceiving me. Maybe mud on my shoes made this mark. But when I lowered my head to see these footprints, I noticed something that made me lose all sense of security. The footprints were not human feet at all. They were long and thin with fingers extended in an unnatural way, and there were marks as if there were claws on the foot, and my heart started beating quickly, and I raised my head very quietly towards the room, and the door of the room was open for no reason. Knowing that I did not leave it open, the room was dark and no light was on in it. Oh God, who is inside my room? I felt my whole body frozen, and I could not move, and my mind was screaming, "Do not enter at all," and run away. But curiosity was stronger than me. I had to know what was happening. I took 2 steps forward, and every breath I took was heavy on me, and every hair on my body stood up. And when I reached the door, I stretched my hand to push it slowly, and before I touched the door, it moved from one side and opened more, as if there was something inside. The room waiting for me, I put my head slowly inside to see the room. It was completely dark, but I noticed the shadow of a tall person standing next to my bed, and nothing was clear of his features. So I turned to the light switch in the room and turned it on and turned to this thing. And here's something happened that made me lose all the rules of reason and logic. There was a person standing next to my bed. The person turned to me slowly. His face had exactly the same features as mine, but his eyes were completely black, no white or shine. He smiled at me, a distorted smile, and I heard him speak in a voice exactly like mine. He said, "What I told you, you will not get rid of us wherever you go. The one who killed you is one of the men of our tribe, and we will make you pay the price." I quickly moved my body to escape from this place and the apartment. I didn't come running. Suddenly, I was hit on the head from behind and fell to the ground. Unconscious. I don't know what happened. I was unconscious, and suddenly I felt myself in a very cold place. I kept hearing around me the sound of drums beating and very strange sounds. I opened my eyes a little, and my head was to the right. Suddenly, I looked around and saw myself in the same place where I killed a snake at sunset in the desert. I returned to the exact same place, and this time the place was full of snakes around me. I screamed with all my might and tried to get up, but the same person came to me who looked exactly like me and whom I saw in my room. He got up. He hit me hard with his foot on my chest, making me fall to the ground. I looked around and saw a lot of strange black feet. There were people standing around me, but their features were not clear, and their bodies were also not clear. It was as if they were all present to see the judgment that would be issued against him. Here I knew myself. I was in the Jinn court. All those standing next to me were from the world of the Jinn, and they came to be tried because I killed one of their men who was possessed by a snake. I wanted to speak and scream and do anything, but I couldn't. My body was completely paralyzed and I couldn't do anything. Then this person who looked exactly like me came close to me and brought his face close to mine. When I looked at his face, from the proximity of my blood, my body froze. His eyes were literally empty. There was nothing inside them, just two black holes. It was as if his eyes had swallowed all the darkness. He said to me in a strange voice, "Our tribe has sentenced you to death." Suddenly, he opened his mouth. His mouth was strange to the extreme. When he opened his mouth, everything changed. I felt my whole body go numb, and my limbs tingled, and I felt a very strange movement was happening inside my body, and my heart kept beating with an unnatural strength, and my breath was slipping away from me. I felt like it was pulling my soul out. My whole body was withering, and all my strength was collapsing, and I withdrew, and I knew. I knew that I was about to die, and that it was about to pull my soul out of my body. I felt as if everything had changed around me, as if I was about to move to another world. I kept seeing a tape of my whole life in front of me, all my childhood, my mother, my memories, and the people I know. Literally, I was about to die, and I wasn't going to be able to do anything. The sound of the drums around me became louder and faster, the sound of very fast and strong beats on the drums. It was as if it was a prelude to pulling my soul out of my body. I gradually felt my soul about to separate completely from my body to another world. I knew that this would be the end of everything and that I was dead. Dead. At that moment, I felt the utmost degree of weakness, and in the heart of that terrifying darkness, suddenly my ears began to pick up a familiar sound from inside and the sound of the drums. At first, the sound was very far away, and it began. The sound was getting closer and closer. These sound waves were creeping into the depths of my heart, brother. The sound is very familiar and I hear it a lot, but I didn't come to understand it and comprehend it. The sound of hymns, I mean, a very beautiful sound, and I used to hear it every day. And suddenly the sound became very clear. It was the sound of the dawn call to prayer, the voice of the muezzin calling the dawn prayer. This sound kept echoing in the air and covered all the sounds of the drums. The face of this person who was coming to drag my soul suddenly became tense, his face filled with tension. Suddenly, a voice came from far away saying, "The call to prayer has stopped. The ruling has been canceled." This person who was above me stopped and got back from me, hesitating. Suddenly, everything changed. I got up, breathing heavily, and saw myself falling to the ground inside my room in my apartment. I looked around me. I didn't see anyone there. I heard the sound of the dawn call to prayer coming from the mosque next to my apartment. I looked at the time and saw that dawn was really coming. I got up very quickly, performed ablution, and prayed the dawn prayer. I was completely terrified, but after I prayed, I felt very relieved. I felt like I regained all my balance and returned to normal, and my shadow kept repeating the call to prayer. The call to prayer canceled the ruling, and after that day, everything returned to normal after nothing out of the ordinary happened to me. Until now, I haven't fully comprehended everything that happened to me, but what stuck in my mind is that the call to prayer stopped and canceled the ruling, And here the story ends.